Mrs. Boyle had only just been killed when you got to her. You've come from the kitchen. Are you sure you didn't see or hear anything as you come along the hallway?
No, I don't think so. Just the radio playing out in here. I couldn't hear it turn it on so loud. I wouldn't hear anything else than that, would I?
Clearly the murderer's idea. The murderess.
But how would I hear anything else?
You might have done. If the murderer had left you all that way, he may have heard you coming from the kitchen, ducked up the back stairs or into the dining room.
I think, I'm not sure, but I think I heard a door creak and shut just as they came out of the kitchen.
Which door?
I don't know.
Oh, think, Mrs. Ralston, try and think. Upstairs, downstairs, left, right, close at hand.
I don't know, I tell you. I'm not even sure of anything now.
Can't you stop bullying her? Can't you see she's all in?
We're investigating the murder here, Mr. Ralston. Up to now, none of you have taken this thing seriously. Mrs. Boyle didn't. She held out on me with information. You all held out on me with information. Well, Mrs. Boyle is dead. And unless we get to the bottom of this, and quickly, mind, there may well be another murder.
Another? Nonsense. Why?
Because, Mr. Ralston, there were 3 blind mice.
A death for each of them? Well, there'd have to be some connection. I mean some other connection with this whole thing of the Longridge farm business.
Yes, there would have to be that.
But why another death here?
Because there were only 2 addresses in the notebook, right? Now, there was only one possible victim at 24 Carver Street. She's dead. Here at Monkswell Manor, with a much wider field.
Nonsense. Surely it would be a most unlikely coincidence that there should be 2 people brought here by chance, both of them with a share in the Longridge farm case.
Not that much of a coincidence given the circumstances. Think it out, Miss Casewell. Now, I want to get down quite clearly where everybody was at the time of the murder. Mrs. Ralston, I've already got your statement. You were in the kitchen preparing vegetables. You've left the kitchen, up the passage, through the swinging doors, and in here. The light was switched off, the radio was blaring, and the hall was dark. Turned on the light, saw Mrs. Ralston, and screamed.
Yes, I screamed, and then the last people came.
Yes, as you say, a lot of people came from a lot of different directions. Now, at the time I climbed out that window and checked the telephone wire, you, Mr. Ralston, had gone upstairs to check the extension in the bedroom you and Mrs. Ralston occupied. Where were you when you heard a scream?
I was upstairs in the bedroom. The telephone line was dead there too. I looked out the window to see if I could see where it had been cut, but I couldn't. I closed the window and then I heard Molly scream and I rushed down.
Those simple actions took you rather a long time, didn't they, Mr. Ralston?
I don't think so.
I should say you definitely took your time over them.
I was thinking of something.
We'll see. Mr. Wren, I'll have your accounts of where you were.
I'd been in the kitchen, seeing if there was anything I could do to help Miss Ralston. I had dog cooking. After that, I went upstairs to my bedroom.
Why?
It's quite a natural thing to go to one's bedroom. After all, one does like to be alone sometimes.
You went up to your room because you wanted to be alone.
Yes, and I wanted to brush my hair and tidy up.
You wanted to brush your hair?
Anyway, that's where I was.
And you heard Mrs. Ralston scream?
Yes.
And you came down?
Yes.
Curious that you and Mr. Ralston didn't bump into each other on the stairs on the way.
I came out down by the back stairs. It's nearer to my room.
Did you go up to your room by the back stairs or did you come through here?
I went up by the back stairs too.
Right. Mr. Ralston. Mr. Wren upstairs. Mr. Paracini.
I have told you. I was playing the piano in the drawing room. True that, Inspector.
Oh, I'm not an inspector, I'm just a sergeant, Mr. Paracini. Did anyone hear you playing the piano?
I do not expect so. I was playing very, very softly, with one finger so.
You're playing 3 blind mice.
Were you now?
Yes, it is a very catchy little tune. It is, how shall I say, haunting little tune.
It's horrible.
And yet it runs in people's heads. Somebody was whistling it too.
Whistling it? Where?
I'm not sure. Perhaps in the front hall. Perhaps on the stairs. Perhaps even upstairs in a bedroom.
Who was whistling 3 blind mice? Are you making this up, Mr. Paracini?
No, no, Inspector. I beg your pardon, Sergeant. I would not do a thing like that.
Right, go on. You were in the drawing room playing the piano.
Yes, with one Finger so. And then I hear the radio playing very loud. Somebody was shouting on it. It offended my ears. And then, after that, suddenly I hear Mrs. Ralston scream.
Mr. Ralston upstairs. Mr. Wren upstairs. Mr. Parravicini in the drawing room. Miss Casewell.
I was writing letters in the library.
Could you hear what was going on in here?
No, I didn't hear anything until Mrs. Ralston screamed.
What did you do then?
I came in here.
At once.
I think so.
You say you were writing letters at the time of the murder.
Yes.
Yet, there doesn't appear to be any unfinished letters on the writing desk in the library.
I brought it with me.
Dearest Jessie. Friend of yours, a relative?
It's none of your damn business.
Perhaps not. But, if I were writing a letter, and someone in the next room was screaming blue murder, I don't think I'd take the time to pick up my unfinished letter, fold it, put it in my handbag before going to see what was the matter.
You wouldn't? How interesting.
Major Metcalf, you say you were down in the cellars at the time. Why?
Looking around, just looking around. I looked into that cupboard place under the stairs near the kitchen, and I noticed there was another door inside it. I opened it and saw a flight of steps. I was curious, and I went down. Nice cellars you've got.
Glad you liked them.
Not at all. A crypt of an old monastery, I should say. Probably why this place is called Monkswell.
We're not engaged in antiquarian research here, Major Metcalf. We're investigating a murder. Now, Mrs. Ralston has already told us that she heard a door creak as she came along the hallway. That particular door shuts with a creak. Could be, you know, the murderer heard Mrs. Ralston coming, ducked into that cupboard, closing the door behind it.
A lot of things could be.
There would be fingerprints inside the cupboard.
Mine are there all right. But most criminals are careful to wear gloves, aren't they?
Well, as usual, what? All criminals slip up sooner or later.
I wonder, Sergeant, if that is really true.
Okay, Sergeant, are we wasting time? There's only one person
Mr.
here.
Ralston, please. I'm in charge of this investigation.
Oh, very well.
Mr. Ralston! Please. We've got to establish opportunity as well as motive. Now, let me tell you this. You all had opportunity. There are two staircases. Anyone could go up one, come down the other. Anyone could go down to the cellars, by the door near the kitchen, come back up by the flight of steps, comes up by a trap door there near the stairs. The vital fact is, all of you were alone at the time of the murder.
Look here, Sergeant, you speak as they were all under suspicion. That's absurd.
In a murder case, everyone is under suspicion.
But you know pretty well who killed that woman in Culver Street. You think it's the eldest of those three children at the farm. A mentally abnormal young man who's now 23 years of age. Well, damn it all, there's only one person here who fits the bill.
It's not true! It's not true! You're all against me! Everybody's always being against me! You're going to frame me for a murder! It's persecution! That's what it is! Persecution!
Steady, lad, steady.
It's all right, Chris. Nobody's against you. Tell him it's all right.
We don't frame people.
Tell him you're not going to arrest him.
I'm not arresting anybody. I need evidence to do that. I haven't got any evidence yet.
I think you're crazy, Molly. And you too. There's a killer on loose. There's only one person here who fits the bill. You ought to be put under arrest, as funny as a safety measure. It's not fair on the rest of us.
Wait. Sergeant Dodger, could I speak with you a moment, please?
Certainly, Mrs. Ralston. Will the rest of you go into the dining room, please?
I'm staying.
No, Giles, you too, please.
I'm staying! I don't know what's come over you, Molly.
But Giles, please.
Now, Mrs. Ralston, what is it you wanted to say to me?
Sergeant Dodger, you think that this crazy killer must be the eldest boy of the farm. But you don't know that, do you?
We don't actually know anything. All we've got so far is the woman who joined with her husband in starving those poor children has been killed. The woman magistrate responsible for putting the children there has been killed. The telephone wire connecting me with police headquarters has been cut.
But you don't know that really either, do you? It may have just been the snow.
It was definitely cut, Mrs. Ralston. I found the place. It's out there by the front door.
Oh, I see.
Sit down, Mrs. Ralston.
But all the same, you don't know...
I'm going by probability. It all points one direction. Childish mentality, desertion from the army psychologist reports.
Oh, I know. And therefore it all seems to point to Christopher. I don't think it is Christopher. I really don't. There must be other possibilities.
Such as?
Well, haven't those children any other relations at all?
Mother was a drunk, died soon after the children were taken from her.
What about the father?
He was an army sergeant serving abroad. If he's alive, probably discharged from the army by now.
You don't know where he is now?
No information, probably takes some time to trace him, but I assure you, Mrs. Ralston, police take every eventuality into account.
But you don't know where he is at this moment. And if the son was mentally unstable, then the father may have been unstable too.
It's a possibility.
And if he came home, after being a prisoner of the Japs perhaps, and having suffered terribly, and he came home and found his wife dead, and his children had gone through some terrible experience, and one of them had died through it, but he won't go off his head of it. And want revenge.
It's only a surmise.
But it's possible.
Yes, Mr. Ralston, it is a possibility.
So the murderer may be middle-aged or even old. When I said the police rang up, Major Metcalf was frightfully upset. He really was. I saw his face.
Major Metcalf?
Middle-aged. A soldier. He seems quite nice and perfectly normal, but it mightn't show, might it?
No, often it doesn't show at all.
So there's not only Christopher as a suspect. There's Major Metcalf as well.
Any other suggestions?
And Mr. Paravicini did drop the poker when I told him the police had rang up.
Oh, Mr. Paravicini.
Oh, I know. He seems quite old and foreign and everything, but he mightn't be as old as he looks. He moves around as though he's a much younger man. He's definitely got makeup in his face. In case one noticed it too. I know it sounds all very melodramatic. He might be disguised.
Quite anxious, aren't you, that it shouldn't be young Mr. Wren?
I don't know. He just seems so helpless somehow and so unhappy.
Mrs. Ralston, I've had all possibilities in my head since the beginning. The elder brother Georgie, the father, and someone else was the sister too, remember?
His sister?
Could have been a woman who killed Mrs. Stanning.